First strike. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the TSS Prometheus, her weathered hands clasped behind her back as she watched the shimmering hyperspace corridor stretch endlessly before her. 30 years of service had earned her every silver strand in her dark hair, but nothing in her career had prepared her for this moment. Admiral, her XO, Commander David Rodriguez, approached with a quantum tablet. The Galactic Assembly session is about to begin. Sarah nodded, turning away from the viewport. The bridge crew worked in focused silence as the massive holographic display materialized in the center of the command deck. Representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations filled the Assembly's grand chamber on Centaurus Prime, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. High Speaker Zextal, an ancient being composed of crystalline energy, rose from the central podium. Their voice resonated through the quantum translation matrix. We gather today to address the most significant threat to galactic stability in 10,000 cycles. Sarah's jaw tightened. She'd expected this, but the reality still stung. The species known as humans, Zextal continued, has expanded beyond all reasonable bounds. Their technological advancement rate exceeds safety parameters. Their military capabilities grow unchecked. Therefore, by unanimous decision of the elder races, humanity is hereby classified as a containment species. The chamber erupted in agreement. Species after species pledged support for the containment protocol. Only a few younger races remained silent, their representatives casting uncertain glances toward Earth's empty diplomatic pod. Commander Rodriguez's hands clenched into fists. They're actually doing it. They're trying to cage us. Correction. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They're trying. As if on cue, her neural implant pulsed with an encrypted message from Earth Command. 2 words that would change everything. Execute Prometheus. Sarah straightened her midnight blue uniform. Signal the fleet. All ships activate quantum matrices. Across human space, 2,000 warships simultaneously engaged technology that the Assembly had deemed impossible for humanity to achieve. Ships disappeared from conventional space, shifting into a dimensional frequency that alien sensors couldn't detect. On the Prometheus's bridge, reality seemed to shimmer as the quantum drive engaged. The visible spectrum altered slightly, a reminder that they now existed slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. The Assembly's containment fleet is moving into position, Rodriguez reported. 15,000 ships, just as intelligence predicted. Sarah nodded. And they're expecting to find our outdated defense platforms and a scattered colonial fleet. Status of Operation Blindside. Task Forces Alpha through Echo report ready. Quantum matrices stable across all ships. We're completely invisible to their sensors. The Assembly's containment fleet spread out in a textbook formation, their energy shields gleaming as they prepared to enforce the new order. Their commanders were probably already drafting victory speeches. Let them get comfortable, Sarah ordered. Signal all task forces. Maintain quantum phase for 3 more minutes. Then execute attack pattern Sierra 9. She watched the Assembly fleet through quantum-enhanced sensors. Their ships were impressive, the product of civilizations that had mastered space travel when humanity was still fighting with swords. But they shared a critical weakness. Arrogance. They think we're primitive. Sarah addressed her crew. They think we're predictable. They've spent so long looking down on younger races that they've forgotten a fundamental truth. Necessity breeds innovation, and humanity has never needed anything more than freedom. The 3 minutes passed with agonizing slowness. Then Sarah gave the order that would reshape galactic politics forever. All ships, execute Sierra 9. Weapons free. 2,000 human warships materialized in perfect attack position, their quantum matrices allowing them to phase into reality inside the Assembly fleet's formation. Before alien commanders could even register the impossible sensor readings, humanity's primitive weapons opened fire. Concentrated antimatter beams, gravity lances, and quantum torpedoes struck with surgical precision. Ships that had never expected to see actual combat began exploding in silent bursts of light and debris. The assembly's carefully planned containment operation transformed into chaos in seconds. Enemy fleet attempting to regroup, Rodriguez reported with professional calm. They're trying to form a defensive sphere. Too late, Sarah replied. Signal phase 2. Let's show them what else they missed. Throughout the assembly fleet, quantum viruses that had lain dormant in their computer systems for years activated. Shield frequencies scrambled. Weapon systems crashed. Navigation computers displayed impossible readings. Admiral, her tactical officer called out, we're receiving surrender signals from multiple assembly command ships. Sarah allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The assembly had spent years planning humanity's containment, never realizing that humanity had spent those same years preparing for this exact scenario. Send to all assembly vessels, she ordered. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Space Force. Your containment operation has failed. Your computer systems are compromised. Your shields are useless. You have two options: immediate surrender or complete defeat. You have 5 minutes to decide. She turned back to the viewport, watching the assembly fleet's formation crumble. Send a message to Earth Command. Operation Prometheus successful. Request diplomatic teams begin Phase 3. The assembly had wanted to contain humanity. Instead, they'd triggered the very scenario they'd feared most: a humanity united against external threat, demonstrating technological superiority they'd worked so hard to hide. As surrender signals continued to flood in, Sarah thought about the history books that would document this day. The assembly had tried to cage humanity. They'd never stopped to ask themselves a critical question: what happens when you corner a species that specializes in breaking free? Silent thunder. Dr. Maya Patel's hands danced across the quantum interface as she monitored the dimensional frequencies from her laboratory deep within Luna Base. Holographic displays showed thousands of assembly ships trapped in a state of confusion, their once mighty fleet now scattered and disoriented. Neural link established, she announced to her team. Beginning deep scan of assembly ship classifications. The assembly's emergency session had been called within hours of their fleet's humiliating defeat. High-speaker Zextal's crystalline form vibrated with barely contained rage as reports continued flooding in. Not only had humanity countered their containment effort, but they'd done so with technology that shouldn't exist. Impossible, growled third speaker Carnful, his scaled hide shifting colors with agitation. Their quantum mechanics understanding was assessed at level 2. This is minimum level 8 technology. Maya smiled as she watched the assembly's broadcast through quantum taps they'd placed years ago. Her team had written the assessment algorithms that convinced the assembly of humanity's technological limitations. Years of carefully crafted deception, showing just enough progress to seem ambitious, but not enough to seem threatening. Director, her AI assistant materialized beside her. Assembly ships are attempting to adapt their sensors. They're scanning across 11-dimensional frequencies. Let them scan, Maya replied. They're still using linear quantum mechanics. They won't find what they don't understand exists. Across the solar system, humanity's true defensive network activated. Quantum gates that had been invisible to conventional spacetime began pulsing with energy. The assembly's attempts to gather reinforcements would find their fleet movements redirected. On Mars Command, General Marcus Way received the update from Luna Base. Operation Silent Thunder is go, he announced to his staff. Begin quantum network expansion. The assembly's leaders watched in growing horror as their reinforcement fleets reported impossible navigation errors. Ships that should have arrived at Earth found themselves emerging from hyperspace near dead stars. Others disappeared completely, trapped in pocket dimensions that humanity had mapped decades ago. We created the quantum maze during the First Contact War, Maya explained to her junior researchers. When the Retalians tried to invade, we realized conventional space warfare was obsolete. So we changed the rules. Her displays showed assembly scientists frantically trying to understand what was happening. Their ship's sensors detected normal spacetime, but their vessels moved through it like swimmers fighting an invisible current. "They're scanning the wrong layers of reality," one of her assistants noted. "Should we let them detect the quantum matrix?" Maya considered this. "No, let them think this is about advanced propulsion. They're not ready to learn that we've mapped the quantum substrate of the universe itself." In the assembly chamber, panic was setting in. Not only had humanity defeated their containment fleet, but they were now somehow controlling space itself. The younger race's representatives were already withdrawing their support, fear of human retaliation overwhelming their political obligations. "The humans must be stopped," Carnful roared. "Authorization for maximum military response." "With what fleet?" Second speaker Valshera's ethereal form pulsed with dark humor. "Half our ships are surrendered. The other half can't navigate. Face reality. We catastrophically underestimated them." Maya's quantum sensors detected the energy spike as Carnful activated his personal weapons. The assembly's leadership was fracturing exactly as predicted, centuries of unchallenged authority crumbling in the face of human innovation. "Director," her eye reported, "we're detecting quantum signature matches. Assembly ships are using the same drive configurations we documented during the Retaliation War." "Of course they are," Maya smiled. "They sold the Retalians that technology. They never imagined we'd not only defeat it but reverse engineer it into something they can't comprehend." On the Prometheus, Admiral Chen received Maya's update. The quantum maze was operating perfectly, turning the galaxy's most advanced ships into lost travelers in a labyrinth they couldn't perceive. "Status of assembly leadership," she asked her command staff. "Deteriorating rapidly," Commander Rodriguez reported. 3 minor species have already requested separate peace negotiations. The Quantum Intelligence Division predicts total assembly collapse within 48 hours. Sarah nodded. The assembly had ruled through technological superiority for 10,000 years. That advantage had evaporated in a single day. Now they faced a species that had hidden its true capabilities, waiting for exactly this moment. "Send to all commands," she ordered. "Phase 3 is authorized. Deploy the quantum beacons." Across human space, massive structures began phasing into normal spacetime. The quantum navigation network that humanity had built in secret was revealing itself. Soon, any ship wanting to travel safely through the galaxy would need human quantum protocols. Maya watched the beacons activate from her lunar laboratory. The assembly had tried to contain humanity within their solar system. Instead, they'd forced humanity to reveal the technology that would make them the galaxy's new gatekeepers. "Begin broadcast," she instructed her eye. "Let's show them what real quantum mechanics looks like." The message that pulsed across the quantum substrate would reach every spacefaring civilization simultaneously. Humanity was no longer hiding. The universe was about to change. Digital dawn. In the crystalline towers of the Galactic Trade Center on Centaurus Prime, Aria Zhang sat in a seemingly empty office, her neural implants connecting her to thousands of data streams simultaneously. As the assembly's economic systems crashed around them, none of the panicking alien financial experts noticed the human woman quietly sipping her coffee. "Status update," she subvocalized to her quantum-encrypted AI. "Financial containment protocols failing across all major assembly systems." The AI reported directly to her neural cortex. "Their automated defenses are trying to adapt, but they're still using predictive algorithms from 3 centuries ago." The assembly's economic experts had dismissed Earth's digital currency systems as primitive. They never realized those primitive systems were a smokescreen, hiding quantum-encrypted financial networks that had been infiltrating their economies for decades. On her neural display, Aria watched trading volumes explode across assembly markets. Quantum speed trading algorithms, hidden dormant in their systems for years, activated simultaneously. The assembly's carefully regulated economy began to unravel. "Director," her field commander's voice echoed in her mind. "Operation Digital Dawn is proceeding ahead of schedule. Assembly Central Bank, attempting emergency protocols." Arya allowed herself a small smile. Let them try. Execute Phase 3. Across the galaxy, quantum computers hidden within human trading offices sprang to life. The Assembly had always considered digital warfare beneath them, preferring physical weapons and energy shields. They never imagined humanity would turn economics into a weapon. In the Assembly's Emergency Economic Council, First Minister Varthal's crystalline form pulsed with distress as markets collapsed. Impossible. Their trading systems were rated as basic blockchain technology. His assistant, a being of pure energy, flickered anxiously. Sir, we're detecting quantum signatures in their trading algorithms. They've been using our own networks against us. Arya monitored their panic through quantum taps. The Assembly's leadership was learning a harsh lesson about underestimating primitive species. While they'd focused on containing humanity's physical expansion, they'd missed the digital invasion that had already succeeded. All sectors reporting critical market failure. Her eye updated. Assembly credit value dropping below sustainable levels. Economic panic spreading to colonial systems. On her neural display, Arya watched the cascade of financial collapse spread like a beautiful, destructive wave. The Assembly had built their power on economic control, using their advanced technology to manipulate markets and keep younger races dependent. Now that system was becoming their greatest vulnerability. Sir, an Assembly financial analyst reported to Varthal, human quantum algorithms are predicting market movements faster than our systems can process them. They're not just crashing our economy, they're harvesting our wealth. Arya's team had spent years preparing this operation. While the Assembly worried about human warships, they'd missed the real threat, a new kind of warfare that turned their own financial networks into weapons. Director, her field commander called. Assembly leadership requesting emergency communication. They're offering immediate withdrawal of all containment protocols. Too late, Arya replied. They'd wanted to cage humanity. Let's show them what happens when we really take the gloves off. Execute Final Phase. Throughout Assembly space, quantum encrypted messages began appearing on every financial terminal. Your economic system is now under human control. Continued resistance will result in total market collapse. Await further instructions. The Assembly's mighty trading houses, the banks that had funded their dominance for millennia, found themselves locked out of their own systems. Humanity hadn't just defeated their containment fleet. They'd taken control of the galaxy's economic heart. Message from Earth Command, her AI reported. Operation Digital Dawn officially successful. Diplomatic teams standing by for negotiation phase. Arya stood, straightening her business suit as she prepared to reveal herself to the panicking Assembly leaders. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their ships or their quantum technology. It was their ability to think in ways the Assembly had never imagined. Send final status report to Admiral Chen, she instructed. The economic front is secured. The Assembly's choice is simple. Adapt to a new galactic order, or face complete financial extinction. Outside her window, the artificial sun of Centaurus Prime illuminated a changed galaxy. The Assembly had tried to contain humanity's expansion. Instead, they triggered a revolution that would reshape galactic civilization forever. The Awakening. Dr. James Chen stood in his laboratory deep within Titan's crust, watching as the quantum consciousness matrix hummed with ethereal energy. Around him, rows of stasis pods contained volunteers from across human space, scientists, soldiers, and civilians who had helped prove humanity's greatest breakthrough. Consciousness transfer stable, reported his AI assistant. All test subjects maintaining neural cohesion across quantum substrates. The Assembly's final desperate attack had come exactly as predicted. Unable to accept their military and economic defeat, they had launched a biological weapon designed to target human neural patterns. They expected to cripple humanity's leadership with a synchronized strike. Instead, they had forced humanity to reveal their most closely guarded secret. Status of Assembly Strike Force, James asked, his hands moving through the holographic controls with practiced ease. Their ships have breached the outer system defenses, his AI reported. Biological weapon armed and preparing for dispersal. James nodded calmly. Begin mass consciousness transfer. Authorization code. Awakening. Across human space, millions of quantum pods activated simultaneously. The assembly's bioweapon would find bodies, but humanity's consciousness would be safely stored in the quantum realm they'd mapped decades ago. In the assembly's war room, Supreme Commander Zextal watched with satisfaction as their weapon platforms moved into position. The humans have forced our hand. Once their neural systems are compromised, we can restore order. His satisfaction turned to confusion as human ships made no attempt to evade. Cities didn't activate their defense shields. It was almost as if, "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting massive quantum energy signatures from all human settlements." Before Zextal could respond, every human communication channel activated simultaneously. Dr. James Chen's hologram appeared before the assembly leadership, his expression calm but resolute. "You thought you understood consciousness," he addressed them. "You thought it was bound to biological forms. That was your final mistake." On his neural display, James watched as the assembly's bioweapon dispersed harmlessly through human space. Their sensors would detect normal biological functions continuing, but humanity's true essence was now safely stored in quantum matrices, far beyond their weapons' reach. "Impossible," Zextal whispered. "This level of consciousness manipulation it would require. Understanding of reality far beyond your comprehension." James finished for him. "We achieved quantum consciousness transfer during our first contact with the Regelians. Everything since then has been preparation for this moment." The assembly leaders watched in horror as human bodies across the galaxy appeared to function normally, while their quantum sensors detected impossible energy patterns. Humanity hadn't just transcended biological limitations. They'd turned consciousness itself into a weapon. "Your bioweapon was designed to target neural patterns you understood," James explained. "But we stopped being purely biological beings long ago. Humanity exists simultaneously in normal space and the quantum realm. We are no longer bound by the limitations you sought to impose." In his Titan laboratory, James monitored the mass consciousness transfer. Millions of human minds now existed as quantum patterns, able to transfer instantly across vast distances or merge with artificial systems at will. The assembly's attempt to contain humanity had instead forced them to reveal their transformation into something beyond conventional understanding. "We offer you one final chance," James broadcasted to the assembly fleet. "Withdraw your forces. End all containment protocols. Accept that humanity has evolved beyond your control. Or..." He let the threat hang unspoken. The assembly leaders had just witnessed humanity casually negate their ultimate weapon. Their sensors showed human cities continuing to function while quantum energy patterns danced in ways their science couldn't explain. "Signal from Assembly Command," his AI reported. "They're requesting immediate ceasefire and unconditional diplomatic negotiations." James allowed himself a small smile. The assembly had tried to cage what they thought was merely an aggressive young species. Instead, they'd forced humanity to reveal itself as something far more. Beings who had transcended the boundaries between physical and quantum existence. "Send to Earth Command," he instructed. "Operation Awakening successful. Humanity's evolutionary leap can no longer be hidden, but perhaps now it no longer needs to be." The assembly's bioweapon dissipated harmlessly into space, its target species having evolved far beyond its reach. In his laboratory, James watched as test subjects began transferring their consciousness back to their physical forms, each transfer proving that humanity had mastered the one frontier the assembly had never even thought to explore, the quantum nature of consciousness itself. New Order. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in Earth's ancient United Nations chamber, now serving as the meeting place for a new galactic order. Representatives from both the assembly and independent worlds filled the hall, their varied forms a testament to the galaxy's diversity. The quantum holograms of consciousness-transferred humans flickered alongside physical delegates, symbolic of humanity's transcendent nature. The old assembly is dissolved. High Speaker Zextel's crystalline form dimmed with admission of defeat. We acknowledge that our attempt to contain humanity was not just a tactical error, but a fundamental misunderstanding of their nature. Dr. Maya Patel and Arya Zhang sat beside Sarah, their presence representing humanity's quantum and economic achievements. Dr. James Chen's consciousness projected itself from the quantum realm, a living demonstration of human potential. We stand at a crossroads. Sarah addressed the gathered species. The assembly tried to contain us because they feared change. They feared what they couldn't control. But humanity's response wasn't just about defending ourselves. It was about proving that evolution cannot be contained. The quantum networks that now controlled galactic travel pulsed with energy. The economic systems that humanity had revolutionized displayed real-time data across holographic screens. Everything that had made the assembly powerful now served as proof of their obsolescence. We propose a new compact, Sarah continued. Not an assembly that controls, but a coalition that collaborates. Humanity's achievements, quantum navigation, economic innovation, consciousness transfer, will be shared with all species ready to embrace evolution rather than fear it. Young races that had once feared assembly retribution now sat straighter, hope replacing subservience in their postures. Even former assembly leaders showed interest, their own defeat having forced them to confront centuries of stagnation. The universe is not a zero-sum game. Dr. Chen's quantum consciousness resonated through the chamber. The assembly's mistake was believing that one species' advancement must come at another's expense. Humanity proves otherwise. We achieved what we did not by conquering, but by understanding. Not by containing, but by transcending. Maya's quantum sensors detected growing acceptance among the gathered species. The assembly's defeat had shattered old hierarchies, creating opportunity for genuine change. Our terms are simple, Arya spoke, her economic expertise adding weight to her words. The quantum navigation network will be open to all species who join the coalition. Our economic innovations will be shared. The consciousness transfer technology will be available to those ready to embrace it. In exchange, we ask only for commitment to innovation without fear, progress without suppression. The chamber erupted in discussion, thousands of species confronting possibilities they'd never imagined. The assembly had ruled through restriction. Humanity offered liberation. This is not surrender, Sarah assured them. This is evolution. The assembly tried to contain humanity because they forgot a fundamental truth. The universe itself abhors containment. Life exists to grow, to change, to transcend. One by one, species began pledging support for the new coalition. Former assembly worlds, independent systems, even races that had once feared human expansion now saw opportunity where they had once seen threat. We offer partnership, Sarah concluded. Not dominance, but cooperation. Not containment, but collective advancement. The assembly's age of restriction is over. The age of transcendence begins. As the pledges continued, Sarah shared a knowing look with her colleagues. The assembly had tried to cage humanity, never realizing they were attempting to contain something that had already evolved beyond physical constraints. Their failure had opened the door to a new galactic order, one built not on fear of change, but on embracing it. Send to all human commands, she subvocalized through her neural link. Operation Renaissance is complete. The new coalition is forming. Humanity's true journey can finally begin. Outside Earth's atmosphere, thousands of ships from across the galaxy gathered in peaceful formation. The quantum realm pulsed with consciousness transfers as species began exploring human innovations. Economic networks hummed with unrestricted trade. The assembly had tried to stop humanity's expansion. Instead, they had triggered humanity's greatest achievement, proving that true power comes not from containing others, but from helping them transcend their own limitations. The age of containment was over. The age of transcendence had begun.